Yeah, so my last stint behind the bar was quite honestly, as far as bar gigs go, pretty cushy. We had really busy Friday and Saturday nights. It was a hotel bar steakhouse that turned into a bit of a party atmosphere after 8 p.m. It was also right next to the stadium. So when events were going on, it went off. That part was hard. When it got really busy after a weekend, I could barely sleep. And I had a hard time getting back into my sleep schedule until probably about Wednesday. I've had bad knees my whole life. And so those were aching, feet were aching. My hours, as far as a bartender, weren't too bad. It was, on weeknights, 6 or so hours shifts, and on weekends, about 8 hour shifts. So it wasn't too bad, and I made good money. It was a JW Marriott. I was the head bartender. So it was a pretty good gig as far as bar gigs. Well, I had a great time bartending, to be completely honest. I loved the industry. I truly fell in love with it. That's why I stayed as long as I did, which was 8 years. You know, I think one of the big issues was I didn't want to make my legacy just getting people drunk in a fancier way. At the end of the day, when I looked at the trajectory of my career, I was thinking, okay, this is great. I made the cocktail list for an $800 million hotel. I trained all the bartenders. Like, I can see a path forward. It wasn't like I didn't have a career path in hospitality, but I was asking myself, is this truly what I want to put my time and energy into? And at the end of the day, when I answered that truthfully, it wasn't. I wouldn't necessarily say one, but there is one night that does stand out as a night where I just felt completely disrespected, and it truthfully changed the trajectory of my bar career because my GM didn't put enough people behind the bar on the busiest night of the year. 120,000 people in downtown Vancouver. We knew we were going to be slammed, just wall to wall from start to finish. And I went to him the night before and I said, look, we need more people on. I can't do this with four bartenders tonight. Add another guy on. He said, no, it's not in the budget. I'm like, it's one double vodka, dude. One double vodka an hour. He wouldn't listen to me. Sure enough, we got absolutely our asses handed to us. It was embarrassing. As professionals, we couldn't keep up. And it was completely preventable. And it was something I warned management on, and I wasn't listened to because they just said it wasn't in the budget. I felt disrespected. I came in the next day. I literally chewed out my own boss, my GM. I told him that he was essentially a fucking idiot. And well, they didn't like that. Quite honestly, I had tried to leave once before. I got an office job. It was a good job. The guys in my office made a bunch of money. They were great guys, but my heart wasn't in it. And I was like, I love bartending. And at the time, that was still true. The straw that broke the camel's back for me was when COVID hit, all the stupid regulations came into play, and I just wasn't going to play that game. And I wasn't going to bartend with the 6 feet and masks and this and that. I didn't think that was the soul of hospitality. And so I had to find something else. And so I was kind of pushed out of the industry in a way, even though my heart wasn't in it after that incident with my GM. COVID was the last straw for me. So I packed my bags, I flew to Mexico, and I haven't looked back. I now live here. I'm a permanent resident, and I made an online career from here in Mexico. So I first started when I was doing remote sales in SaaS sales, software as a service. And I found that through a friend who was copywriting, email copywriting. And there was a sales team. I did copywriting for a couple months. There was a sales team in all our general meetings. And I saw those guys, and they were more social, kind of like me, like other bartenders. And I knew they made more money. I knew the sales team made more money. I'm like, how do I get their job? So about a month later, I found a SaaS job and I worked with it for about 15, 16 months. And it was a great position. And that gave me the remote sales experience. I also hired a sales trainer. My sales trainer helped me get into remote high ticket sales, find my first high ticket sales job. And so it was a bit of a journey. I think the fastest way to get into the industry is honestly to hire a coach and have help right from the get go so you know what you're doing the day you walk in the door. Bartending is a natural sales training ground. Every day you're handling objections from idiot customers. You're upselling products, as a bartender, you're getting paid essentially a commission. Tips are kind of a commission. It's on how much you're selling. You get a higher check, they're tipping you more. So you have a built-in incentive to sell them the filet mignon instead of the chicken burger with fries. You have a built-in incentive to sell the $500 bottle of wine instead of the $50 bottle of wine. You're doing it every shift already. You're reading people as soon as they come into the bar. Who are they? What do they want? How can I create the best experience for them and be able to give them a memorable moment? And in sales, it's communication. You learn that behind the bar naturally. The first check. So, I mean, the SaaS job was salary, high ticket sales is commission. So I had a bit of a runway to be able to get into high ticket sales and be able to learn the ropes. Once I got into high ticket sales, it took a couple months to kind of learn the ropes and transfer the skills from the SaaS position into high ticket sales. So the first month or two, it was, $2,000 to $3,000 a month, nothing to write home about. But after that, and once it started clicking, that's when the money really started to come in. I love bartenders. I still think of myself as one. There's a real camaraderie. And for the ones that are still loving bartending and excited to come to work every day and love their craft, that's awesome. I am so happy for you guys. I want you to be satisfied and fulfilled in what you do. However, when I was behind the bar, I knew so many bartenders personally who were looking for an out, but they felt stuck. And that's what Beyond the Bar is for. I built this so people who are looking for that exit, like I was, could have a much faster trajectory without losing their income from behind the bar while they're learning this new skill. This is why I'm doing this. Well, I was one, so that's a big part of it. And two, like I said before, being in hospitality is a natural training ground for sales. So it's just a really good fit for hospitality workers. Three, not a lot of people are giving people in the hospitality industry attention when it comes to career transition. And I think it's an important gap in the market that I'm looking to fill. This is not multi level marketing. This is not snake oil. This is not call 10 friends and sell them on whatever you're selling. That's not this. This is providing real value to people who are looking to make transformations in their life. Multi-billion-dollar industry based on coaching and mentorship for all aspects of life. You can feel confident selling these products because these are changing people's lives, and that feels really good at the end of the day. One of the moral dilemmas I had when bartending was the more successful I was, to be honest, the more I was poisoning people. And the complete opposite is true in sales. The more successful I am in sales, the more I'm giving them the medicine to make their lives better. So the honest promise is if you put in the work, I'm going to put in the work to help you get into remote high ticket sales and make two to $5,000 90 days after starting with me. The what it is not is a get rich quick scheme. This is not some easy, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, I'm going to have a new career without doing any work. You still have to do the work. Any skill takes practice and dedication to learn. This is a fast track to learning that. Quite honestly, the person who is tired of being behind the bar and don't know where to go, they enjoy the people and the communication side of the business, but they're tired of the nights, they're tired of the weekends, they're tired of missing family events, they're tired of not being able to date people outside the industry because your schedules don't align. They're just tired of how much it takes. Bartending gives a lot, but it also takes a lot. And if you're looking for that out, that's what this is here for. Yeah, great question. So when they start with me, they're full-time bartenders that are looking for a change. 90 days from the time they start with me, they are working part-time as high ticket setters. So that's the entry level position of the two. There's setters and closers. Setters generally make 5% commission on all the closed deals. And you're working part-time during the days, and that's the beauty of this is that you can work the days as a setter and still work evenings as a bartender until that money you're making as a setter is as much or close or more, and you feel comfortable moving out of bartending and being full-time in as a sales rep. Yeah, the biggest change for me was the schedule. I was able to have a healthier schedule. I'm working out every day. I'm eating healthy. Not to say you can't do that bartending, but it's a lot more challenging. I also choose when I work. I make my schedule. And so the lifestyle of a remote high ticket salesperson really is really flexible. I think that's the one word that would describe it best beyond the money. And that flexibility, it's hard to find in other jobs. And it's just, I wouldn't trade that for anything. The hardest part and the people that probably aren't going to make it are two distinct characteristic traits. One, if you're not a hard worker, if you don't have a work ethic that's going to be able to push you through and be able to really, because there are ups and downs in sales. So being able to keep an even mind, even keel, and push through and really be able to go through some of the challenging aspects of sales, it's probably not going to be for you. If you're not able to stay organized and be able to keep on top of your calendar, make meetings on time, and be able to really just stay organized with everything that's going on, because there's, you're dealing with a lot of calls, and in order to make the most, you have to take notes, check back on people, and be able to really maximize your funnel. So if you're not willing to do that or not capable of doing that, this is probably not for you. If you believe that, then it's true. I mean, the old saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That you can do this as long as you believe you can. I'm no different than you. And all it takes is some dedicated hard work and a little guidance. And you can truly make this transition in quite a short period of time. Reach out to me. If you reach out to me and you're interested and you have a serious desire to make a change, we'll walk you through the game plan for you to take that next step and to get into high ticket sales. And 3 months from now, you could be on a completely different trajectory.